Y'all get on this side. We're gonna have to push it backwards.
No, we're not.
I'm trying to push it off of my car, then it's gonna be tore up as worse than it already is.
Let us get going.
This is an everyday thing. Yeah, I probably don't have enough gas, and the starter's going out of it, so you got to do this every time you want to leave in that car. And we was just going to the gas station. They pulled us over and they wrote me a seatbelt ticket, and it come out to be $41. I didn't have no money to pay, so they charged me $10 to put me on JCS probation. And JCS, I don't get why they're in the picture. This is between me and the courts, not another business.
There is an entire industry devoted to making money off of people who can't pay.
Normally, an offender is put on probation to make sure that they're not posing a threat to public safety if they're not going to be put into prison. But we see a lot of courts really just hiring probation companies because they want to hire a debt collector and calling it probation.
Judicial Correction Services is a private company that allegedly provides private probation services. Essentially, they're a collection agency.
Private probation companies don't charge the courts they work for. Instead, they bill the people they supervise directly in fees every month that they're on probation. That's how they make profits. We found widespread abuses plaguing this whole industry, ignoring evidence that people are actually making heroic efforts to pay down their debts.
Is this all the money you got?
All of it.
Being poor has never been a crime in this country.
And yet, we are still throwing people into prison for owing money and not paying it back.
I've heard people going to jail for not paying their fines. That's one thing around here that will get you in jail quick, is not paying your probation. They will come get you for that quicker than not paying your child support.
Probation is supposed to be a way to keep people out of prison who don't really belong there. Private probation really turns all of that on its head.
It's essentially a debtor's prison.
Pretty much all of Columbiana's in there.
And just about everybody I know has had to and still are going through it.
Yeah, every time you go to court, it's like a family reunion.
One of the really perverse things is that often the poorest communities are the best markets for them. In a place where people really struggle, people wind up on probation in large numbers and for very long periods of time, and that translates into big money in fees for probation companies.
So when profit becomes the driving force, civil rights get thrown under the bus.
That's just about as far as I can get it from the inside. I have to have help getting it the rest of the way. Columbiana is a very small town. There's just a lot of land and roads, and then like what stores we do have, there's not really that many. I've applied for Fred's, Piggly Wiggly, Target. I would love to have a job. I'm not broke all the time. JCS adds on $35 every month, even if you're making progress on it or not. It's almost impossible when you are 17 with no income. I live with my mom and my sisters and my 2 nephews, and my mom is on disability. She pays all of the bills, and if she can give me anything, she will give me a little bit to put towards my ticket, but there's usually not much left. It is very hard. $40 is very hard to come by. And once you get $40 or something like that around here, usually you put that in gas to get where you need to be.
We're looking at offenders who would not be on probation at all if they had more money. They wind up actually paying more than the person of means over time, and is faced with the continual risk of incarceration if they fall behind on their payments.
Here is the actual ticket I got. I paid $10, fees $35, and then fine balance $41. And it shows that it went towards my fees, and my fine stayed the same. This one right here shows I paid another $10. Shows that the fees went down, but the fine is still $41. I've told the judge that I had the money to pay for the ticket and I couldn't afford the rest of the fees, and he said that that wasn't his problem, that I could just put that $41 towards the probation. And then I got another one that shows I paid $41 even, and The fine has not been touched, not one time, all the money I've paid. And see this paper right here, it says a payment is needed. If you fail to appear, a warrant will be issued for your arrest.
A lot of companies in the private probation industry are run by people who are former law enforcement. JCS is run by a man named Robert McMichael, who is a former sheriff and U.S. Marshal. And there's no question that those connections often pave the way to them getting the business that they get.
The system is horribly broken. If you can't pay, you're poor, then you're going to be placed in the hands of JCS, threatened with jail, and in many times jail.
Hundreds of people locked up
1,000 people every month in Alabama because they cannot
for simply
afford
failing to pay.
fine.
They only attack the poor.
It was either pay or go to jail. They threatened me with jail.
It's not me refusing to pay these tickets because I pay them.
New York Times, quote, "There are real constitutional issues at stake."
There are 2 federal lawsuits that are going on against JCS. We're challenging that whole system, the fact that these people were indigent, that they were forced to pay additional funds, and then were ultimately jailed because they couldn't pay these fines that were demanded by JCS.
I have to go back to court and I have to figure out how to come up with half of it right then, and I cannot leave the building until I do, or I will be locked up. I'm not trying to get out of my ticket. I was guilty. I deserve the ticket. But all this probation fees they tack on, I can't afford it, and I'd really like to be able to just pay it and be done with it.